Right. So, hey everyone, I have Joshua here today. I want to try Emacs. I haven't done so. So, this is my first time doing it. I want to give it a go and maybe compare it to Neovim, see the differences between the two. And
Maybe I'll
yeah, well,
convert you forever. Maybe I'll convert you forever. That's the goal.
uh, it could be, it could happen. You never know.
You you have quite the setup though. Like, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to replicate everything, but you put some time into your setup. I can tell. I've seen your videos, and I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about in the Neovim space.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a Neovim expert. I have, you know, set up everything out of necessity. I do
Mm.
markdown editing, and I
Yep.
wanted to
Yep.
customize a few things. I used OBS. No, I'm sorry. I used Obsidian. That's the tool that I did for markdown.
Yep.
And I wanted to replicate what I did in Obsidian in Neovim. So I just, out of necessity, came up with solutions in Neovim. But I'm no expert at all.
I'll preface this with I'm not an expert at Emacs either. So it's I'm not a noob, but I'm also like there are people that are unbelievable. Like Emacs is their life, right? I'm not that person, but I do understand kind of the philosophy behind it and why people would use it.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing is you mentioned Markdown. I actually wrote a book in Emacs in something called orgmode, which is we'll talk a little bit about it, but it's like a markdown on steroids. It's pretty cool, and getting you into it, you might see how it's better or worse than markdown in certain things, but it's pretty cool. I'll kind of show you a bit of a walkthrough after we get it installed and everything.
Oh yeah, I do have some questions about org mode. I have thought
Yep,
about it, but I'll ask you when we get to that part. All right. So
let's do it. Yeah,
how should I call you? Should I call you Josh, Joshua?
Josh is perfect. Yeah,
Josh is fine. Okay.
yep,
I'm gonna go over a few things here in this little app that I have on the right hand side. If we have topics that we want to discuss, I'm just gonna put them
we'll just
here.
add them.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
just
Okay,
add them there. Right. So
cool.
um let's start with this. What do you do? Just a quick introduction, and then we'll jump into what is important for the viewers. But what do you
Cool.
do?
I don't even know what I do. I'm constantly reinventing myself. I have a couple companies. My first foray into business was kind of actually a real estate brokerage, and in your initial years of real estate, you're very not busy. So I started like learning how to program and all of that in my first years, and kind of fell in love with that more than I did in real estate. So I started like just automating processes and stuff and selling those solutions to people, and that's kind of what I do. I have a YouTube channel. I've wrote a book, so I guess I'm a self-published author. Yeah, I wear many hats. I'm a father. I think you are too.
Yep, I am.
Yeah, so we're part of the dad team. Yeah, that I live in Canada. So which was funny that you said you're in the same time zone as me, but we're not in the same country at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Not even the same not even the same what is that, northern southern hemisphere, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I'm in Guatemala, by the way, for the people that don't know. They always ask
yeah.
me, like,
Yeah.
they wonder, I guess, like, what, but why do you speak English? Like, because we don't speak English here. That's not my main language, is Spanish, actually, so makes people wonder.
No, your English is really good. So I mean, English for the internet is a good thing, and then like, man, I wish I knew Spanish a little bit better.
But you know French, right?
A little bit. I mean, enough to get by, but enough to get in trouble too.
All right. Let's see. What's your YouTube channel? Well, I'm subscribed
Yeah.
to it. That's the way that I found you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm subscribed to you too. At Joshua Blaze, just my name.
this is how I found you. The algorithm showed me this
Nice.
video. So
Yep.
I was like, a guy that tried that used to be on Emacs switched to Neovim. I was like,
Yep.
so is Neovim the king then? But I see that you went
Ah,
back to Emacs, right? We're gonna discuss all that in a little while. But I'm gonna leave
100%.
your channel in the video description so that people can find you and subscribe to your channel.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, and what other type of content should we see or that we see in your channel? Let me just open this.
Yeah, no, I do like mostly technical stuff. I kind of do a little bit of philosophy, theology as well, but mostly like technical stuff around like Linux use. And I'm a huge proponent for like free and open systems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my, I don't really want to say a niche because I don't even know what I haven't really found my niche. I seem to get views on the technical stuff
Mm-hmm.
the most, but yeah, that's kind of where my, I guess my audience resides, I suppose.
Okay. Linux, open source related stuff.
Oh yeah.
And Emacs, of course. And you mentioned before, I forgot about this. Um, you don't work for like a company, then you work for
Nope.
you work for yourself.
Yes. Free time, time rich, money poor, time rich.
that's that's like sort of my goal as well. You know, I worked for a company like for 7 years. They laid me off. I don't know,
Hmm.
like a couple months ago, and
Hmm.
I don't know what I'll do. I would try to come up with something on my own. YouTube, man, YouTube is just pennies what you get, but who knows, right? I'll
Oh
have
yeah.
to find my way.
You seem to have a growing channel though, man. So keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and I, who knows, right?
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Hmm.
Okay, so the type of content that you share, people can find you here in YouTube. I'm gonna leave it in the video description. So let's get started with the installation then. I have not
Let's
installed
do it.
this, so I have no idea at all. You'll have
Yep.
to. I, I was thinking of doing it, but you need to invest a lot of hours, and I'm not gonna come up with something useful. So it's better to do this with someone that knows and can guide me through the process. You know?
Sure. Yeah, and you're on a Mac, so we can brew install
Yeah.
Emacs. I've used my girlfriend's Mac before, so I've done it on hers.
Uh-huh.
I sent you a link to the Emacs Plus
Okay.
repository
Collab.
in GitHub.
Let me bring that up. Hold on. Oh, and what do you think about Mac? What do you think about Mac OS? What's your take on that? Well, while I look
Yeah,
for the
I
link.
no, totally. I've thought about switching to Mac. I like the hardware. I I don't really like the operating system as much. Now, Mac is Unix, so I like it better than Windows.
Mm,
Um, and I've kind of thought to myself that there's a lot of these ARM processors and these integrated chips that are coming out with AMD, and I really want to see what those look like before I make a decision on like kind of a next machine. But Mac
mm,
is I like Mac. I think it's a little bit more of a walled garden than Linux,
mm-hmm.
um, but it is a Unix, and I mean that is beneficial in a lot of ways because you get all the Unix tooling.
Yep.
And one thing you'll note too is that in Emacs, you almost start using Emacs as your computing environment. And we'll talk about the philosophy and stuff later, but you start to realize that Emacs can essentially take over your entire operating system as your file manager, how you do things day to day, blah, 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 blah. So it almost doesn't really matter what the operating system is that's underlying it, which I know uh, that's like a tall ask because you're asking a program to do like your email, you're asking it to manage your media, you're doing all these different things. But Emacs is like it becomes almost your computer. It's a very different philosophy that you really have to like get into it and use it full time to understand like the potential of it.
Oh, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think you wish you could install like OBS in Emacs or something like that.
Not so much. Like I do think that video because I do a video as well. Video heavy stuff, imaging, that is still more inclined to like your dedicated OBS or DaVinci Resolve or that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. That's actually kind of why I considered Mac is that DaVinci Resolve on Linux it's accessible, but you need like a dedicated GPU.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with Mac is you get such good GPU to power ratio that was a consideration for me. Just as an aside.
Oh, yeah. That's the reason why I haven't switched to Linux yet. I don't know
Yep.
if I will
Yep.
ever do because I'm too lazy. You know, I open I open DaVinci, and I just want it to work. I don't want to spend not even a minute configuring it. I don't want it to
100%.
break on me, so it looks better, definitely. Looks, animations and all that looks way better on Linux for sure, but I'm not ready to take that step yet.
Maybe one day. Maybe I can convince you one day.
Yeah, could be. Everyone tells me to switch to Linux, by the way, but we'll see what happens there. So
that's what I'm talking about. Keep forcing him, audience. Let's go.
Yeah. This is the command, I guess, right? No, well, this is reinstall. Let's see.
Yeah, so we're going to do Emacs 30. So brew install plus at 30. That's the most current Emacs version. So you can literally just copy that and paste that into your terminal.
Okay. And what is this 31?
31 is like, that is the, not production, the development branch. So that's like what's coming down the pipeline. Emacs is a very interesting thing in that, like, it's been around for 50 years, like almost 50 years. And it's essentially grown and mutated through those 50 years. In the coming versions, they're actually looking at adding multi-threading. So that's kind of that's going to be very cool to see how fast Emacs could potentially be when it starts using multiple threads on a computer. Because it doesn't currently. It's currently single threaded. So if you have issues with like something going down, then your whole Emacs freezes up. But in the future, it seems to be that multi-threading is going to be the way forward, which is awesome. But yeah, we'll do 30 because 30 is the current version. That's what I'm running as well on my Fedora machine.
Okay, I guess I need to add this first, the tap command.
Yep, you got to tap it first, and then.
All right.
This is similar for my my Linux guys. This is similar to like DNF adding a certain. This is using like a certain. It's adding the repository.
Let's see how long it takes. Let's see if my internet is quite slow or not. I was saying that I have my router configured so that it splits the bandwidth. If two users, 30 megs for each computer on the house. So I cannot get more than 30 megs. I should probably.
Gotcha.
Override that because I'm like the main user in the house, right?
Yeah, like I essentially plug my router directly into my laptop when I'm in the office. So I'm just like taking whatever I possibly can from it.
Yeah.
And that is the right command. Yeah.
That one, Emacs 30, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's install it.
Maybe we talk about the philosophy behind Emacs while it's installing.
Yeah. I'm interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, so I mean, like the reason that I think people really, because there's the editor war, right? Like between Vim and Emacs, it's been raging on forever, right?
Yeah. Well, now Neovim,
they're not
Neovim and Vim versus Emacs.
Well, Neovim seems to be like the way forward for Vim. Like I think that Neovim is essentially Vim for the 21st century, and it seems to be the program that everybody uses when they talk about Vim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the philosophy they're different philosophies entirely. They're almost apples and oranges. Whereas Neovim is kind of like, it's strictly an editor, right? Like you go in there and you can edit all sort of text files. And it's very good at what it does. I love the Vim editing style. So you'll see actually in Emacs, I use the Vim editing style. They call it evil mode. I think it's probably the best editing style ever devised. So I'm not going to say that Vim is not a good thing. Like Vim is the way that Vim edits text is phenomenal. The thing with Emacs though is Emacs is like, it's a graphical program. It can be used in the terminal as well, but it is really more so a way to extend the Unix tooling on a system. So if you're familiar with stuff like ripgrep and ripgrep is like the big one, but you can essentially like you can essentially use Emacs to traverse your file system and all that. And I know Neovim has added that in with stuff like you're familiar with ThePrimeagen. So he wrote the Harpoon package, which is using I believe it's using ripgrep, but also FZF to go through your file system and find files and easily access them and all of that. Emacs has always had that built in, and you can use Emacs to essentially extend Unix tooling with the Lisp programming language. So I know that Neovim uses Lua for its configuration. Emacs uses Lisp. Lisp is a fully integrated programming language. So what you can do is, how familiar are you with Bash scripting?
Most of the things that I do are Bash, right?
Okay.
Bash. I
Yeah.
try to use it as
Yep.
much as possible.
Yeah. So like in Bash scripting, you can write out your script and it can automate a lot of tasks, right? With Emacs and Lisp, you can actually take those Bash scripts and then use Lisp on top of them. So you have like a programming language on top of Bash that allows it to extend basic Unix tooling to essentially whatever you want it to be. So Emacs can really be whatever you want it or need it to be. It's fully programmatic. It's fully self-documenting. It's essentially a way that you could replace your entire we were talking about this. You could replace your entire operating system with Emacs as your way of doing essentially everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, well, I'm curious about what you said about Bash, right? So, how is Bash related to Lisp? Because I have heard about Lisp a lot, and I'm like, so what is it? Is it a programming language then, or?
Yep. Yeah. Lisp is a fully fledged programming language. So Bash is CLI, and I mean it's definitely programmatic in and of itself. But you can take, instead of like piping a command out in Bash, you can pipe it into Lisp and then take a Lisp function and write whatever you want on top of that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I guess it does make sense. I'll understand more once I start doing my first, things with Lisp. I don't think we're gonna go into too much.
No.
Too
I'll kind of
deep
show
in
you
this
my.
video. Yep.
No, I'll show you my config. Like I'll show you some of my configuration and like things that I've done that have kind of I've used to extend Emacs. But we're not gonna write any Lisp functions or anything. I don't think in this video.
Okay. Yeah, and we can do another one depending on how this one
100%.
performs. If people like it,
Yep.
we can create another one and do some more complex things. I want to go over basics right now and what someone that needs to get started or wants to get started with Emacs needs to do, right? Just as a beginner.
No, that sounds good to me. So this will install vanilla Emacs. If you go to my screen, you'll see that I'm running something called Doom Emacs, which is, it's kind of like a bunch of sensible defaults on top of Emacs. So you'll open this when you first download it and you'll be like, it's just this big white screen with like a logo in the middle of it and then a toolbar and all this. And you're like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Oh, hold on. Let me switch to your screen.
Oh, yeah. So this is Doom Emacs, and this is like a sensible default. If for the Neovim people, it's like NV Chad, but like that's not a very good comparison because Doom like takes the sensible defaults, but also optimizations and everything for Emacs for like startup time and everything. Like I don't even think I can make that comparison, but essentially it gives you like a file manager that you can go through all your files in the bottom here. You can open it up. Let's go to a project or something like that. Development, I don't know, something that I'm building here, and even just my blog, right? You're familiar with this, like it's a file system and everything, but in here, like you can start, you just open up a file. I don't know what I want here. Just do one of my latest posts. Let's do this one. So this is org mode.
Oh, this is mode. And how?
Yeah, this is.
Do you have a blog post as well?
Yeah, so this is my literate Doom Emacs configuration. So this is one of my more recent posts. I actually go through everything that I've done for configuring my Emacs, and I'm like, I don't know. I think I have like 1,200 lines of config. I want to say.
Okay.
So it's pretty long. Yeah, it's this is org mode, so you can essentially see all of these different code blocks.
Mm-hmm.
These are all tangled to my configuration. So what that means is I can essentially literally program my configuration in org mode. And then this line then gets traversed into my regular Lisp configuration. Does that make sense?
Not much, but it's fine.
No. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's a way of like self-documenting your configuration. So like when you program, you could essentially write a source block right here, and then have that tangled to another file that actually is that code. So you could like self-document this right here, because this is not going to be included in my code right here. I could say this is my, I can't type today. This is my initial configuration. Can't spell either today. And that is not included in my source block.
Okay.
But this is.
Okay.
And then this actually gets tangled to like a source block that is actually the file. It's installing a little bit quicker now. Yeah, so this is org mode. That's like that's a basic rundown of what org mode is. But org mode is also these, in Markdown, you have the heading system.
Yep.
So in Markdown, you have something that's like right here. You have like, this is a heading.
H1, H2, H3 headings.
You got it. So in org mode, it's actually just an asterisk. And then you can actually take that and make it a second asterisk or a third. You can actually go all the way down, and that's kind of your heading system. And then you can obviously, same thing as in Markdown, you can wrap it, you can close it, and all of that. You can also take like, the big thing for org mode a lot of people do is like they do project management. So they write like to-dos, and you can like mark those as done, or you can take them and go through different statuses for them. Okay. Does that make sense? So you can also you can also like clock in on it. So you can actually like you can actually like track your work on a heading, for example. So like, let's say you have a project and you have like a dozen things you need to do for that project. You can actually like time yourself on each of them, and then you can actually like send a report out at the end of it for what you've worked on that day and all of that. See.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like it's a fully programmatic environment on top of like, it's like a better Markdown, I would say. I've used Markdown extensively, but org is even better.
Now, I have a question about that.
Yes.
How do you do with GitHub repos? If you need to create a README file in a GitHub repo, right?
Yep.
What do you do?
So there's something called, oh my goodness, we could go like so deep on this video. There's something called Magit, M-A-G-I-T. And if you can see my screen here, this is literally, this is a git diff buffer. So like you can literally stage your changes here, commit them, write your commit here. I'm not actually going to commit this because it's not, I don't want to add this to my blog post, right? But you can essentially write your commit here, and then you can stage it, and then you can push it to your GitHub repo, just like that. It's all integrated into Emacs.
Oh no, but I mean,
you probably
the README files, since they're Markdown, right? Let's say that you want to have a README file in a GitHub repo.
Yep. Well, my friend, GitHub also uses org. You can do readme.org instead of readme.md.
Oh, and it converts it, and it looks nice. It formats.
Yeah, 100%. And it looks like, I do all my readmes in org mode.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it's fully compatible on GitHub. They will it'll be properly formatted and all that on the repo and everything.
Okay. Now my blog post is Markdown, 100% Markdown. So I guess I'm screwed there, right?
Not necessarily. What do you use for your blog? Do you use something like Hugo or
Jekyll? It's just a
Jekyll. Okay.
theme. Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with Jekyll, but Hugo, literally, it's one-to-one. You can actually use org mode instead of Markdown. But if you wanted to go org mode, you could literally, there's conversion programs within Doom Emacs that you could literally say, I want to convert.
Okay, this file from Markdown to Or
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, and it will take all your headings and make them org headings, blah 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 blah.
Oh, makes sense. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's like a straight conversion. So I
Okay.
think it's installed on your screen.
Yeah, yeah, it is installed. Let me switch to my screen. What was it?
Cool.
This, I think. Let me know if you can see my screen.
I can. You're good to go.
Okay. This is what I do for tasks in Neovim, because I feel what you're saying about tasks, right? So I just came up with my own, let's say, sort of solution, right? I already installed
Yeah.
Emacs, so if I type here Alt X, notice that it removed the task from there, right?
Yep.
So it's no longer there, and I just configured it so that I added the task here with the time, right? Date and time, right? So
nice.
I can untoggle them. You know, it's not so well thought out, but at least that's what I need. You know, I just need to keep a history of my tasks, and I can search through them and all that. So I can see which tasks are completed or not in a project, you know, using...
No, that's awesome. That's I had thought about doing, because I had been using Neovim extensively, and I was like, how do I build a better org mode? And I just literally couldn't. The way that they had it done is just so, like, the man hours and thought processes that have gone into org mode. It's just like, I could never replicate
for sure. No,
I did something very similar to you too, though, like 100% exactly like that when I was using Neovim, and then I would actually just take that over into Obsidian, and you could just see like the Obsidian layout of my task management and all that. And I mean, whatever works for you is really what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm open to trying out new tools, you know. I don't think there are sites, you know. I can like Neovim, I can love Neovim, but why wouldn't I try Emacs, right? I cannot say 100%. I don't like Emacs if I haven't tested, and especially if I haven't used it at least for a year, right? 1 year after using it, I could come and tell you, no, Neovim is better. I'm not in that position yet, but you know, that's what I think. That's how I feel.
Many people use them both, right? Like they use their Emacs for org mode and task management, and then they do all their programming in Neovim, right? Like you can absolutely do that. I'm not saying that you should pick a side and stay to the side forever, but no, like Emacs is just, it's a different philosophy as to how you integrate with a computer at the end of the day. It's almost like what a computer could have been if we had kept everything integrated instead of like starting to compartmentalize everything out into different applications.
Oh yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. Like if you could install Emacs, like the operating system itself, and you could run applications inside of it, like OBS and stuff like that, you say it would be great, right?
Yeah. And there's people that are working on that, like a fully fledged web browser and all these different things. And I'm like, maybe that actually is the direction it will eventually go. It needs to be multi-threaded before I think that is viable. For sure. But it's right now for a text editing environment. And I mean, when you get down to it in a computer, everything is a text file, right? Everything is everything when you're programming is a text file. So that's kind of where it shines as a way to integrate with a computer.
Yeah. Okay. So it installed already. What should I do?
Let's open it. Let's try opening it and see what vanilla Emacs looks like.
Okay. And how do I open it?
Just open up the Emacs app in your computer. Probably should have just installed it, or you can just run Emacs from your terminal.
Okay. So it installs it as an app then. It's not just like a CLI tool?
I believe maybe Emacs Plus is just a CLI too. Try just writing Emacs in the terminal.
Emacs. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Something popped up.
Yeah.
I saw something pop up.
All right. So let me bring up my applications, and it seems that here is
it's Emacs. Even in your. There you go. Oh, that's a beautiful. That's the default Emacs screen. There you go.
So it's a separate application. I don't run it in, it's like its own terminal application. I thought it ran like in Ghosty or something like that. So
No, you can run it in the terminal with Emacs dash, I believe it's Emacs dash NW, which is let me double check that for you.
But what's better? Like, what makes more sense?
It's
What
running it in
usually?
the GUI, run it as it in the GUI is the better way to run it, I would say, because then you get like full image support and everything. Like you can actually have images within it. You can have that's probably the better way to run Emacs. You can absolutely run it in a terminal and use it like on a server and use it interchangeably with like a Neovim. Um, yeah, it's Emacs-NW would be the way to start it in the terminal. So if you close that window and you type Emacs-NW, it will open up in the terminal.
Oh, okay. But do I have to close this or can I leave it open?
You can. You could probably leave it open and just throw another tmux session up and throw.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Because it takes over my terminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Emacs-NW.
Space dash NW.
Oh, space dash NW.
Dash NW. Correct. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's fully in your terminal then.
Okay.
The only thing with this is you won't get like image support and the nice stuff with a GUI.
Makes sense. Okay, so you don't rely on the terminal at all then. How do I exit out of this?
That one is, you can, does it even say in there? I'm so unfamiliar with normal Emacs commands. 1 second here.
There's this exit Emacs control X, control C.
That is.
Do I have to type both of them then?
Yeah, hold control X and then hit control C again.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So the big joke about Emacs is that like you'll ruin your pinky finger because you have to hit control a ton. Yeah. Now, the thing about Doom Emacs is that they use space as the leader. So it completely takes away that control interface. I like that personally. I know that some people are purists and they don't like that at all. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's a way more ergonomic way of dealing with doing everything. If that makes sense.
Just exiting out of it, my fingers felt it. Imagine doing that
all day, every day. Yeah. No. Cool. Well, let's install Doom then, and I'll kind of show you around that. Right. Because I think that because you're coming from Vim, Doom is essentially it's an Emacs that really uses a lot of the Vim stuff. So you'll probably feel a lot more at home and be able to get up and running with Doom a lot quicker.
All right, let's do it then.
Cool. So if you go to GitHub and just search Doom Emacs, Doom Emacs, you got it. The first one. Yep.
All right.
And then installation.
On the installation section, let's see here.
Right there. Git clone. Yep, that's exactly what you do.
So just copy that thing.
Yep.
And I just run it in my terminal, right?
You got it.
All right. Do I leave Emacs open because it's still running here?
You can just close it and then reopen it when it's installed.
And I just close it like a regular app, like if you would quit an app on macOS, or do I do the control X, control whatever thing?
No, you can. Well, I mean, you could do both. You try control X, control C. I'm actually not familiar with Mac, so I'd be interested if it actually closes that window.
Let's see, control X, control C. Oh, it does.
Nice. Okay, cool.
And just run
this. And then as a normal GUI app, you could just like X out of it or close it however you have a hotkey set up.
Oh yeah, that's way easier. Okay, so I'm just gonna clone this, and it's gonna run what an install script seems.
Yep, and then just hit Y.
Okay.
And then it will. It adds a bunch of like package management and ways that you can like a bunch of default packages for editing and LSPs and tree sitter and all these different things. Like it's kind of, are you familiar with NVChad as like a Neovim framework?
Distribution?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't use it. I use the LazyVim distribution, but
Yep. It's similar to Lazy. Same thing.
Okay.
I don't want to say same thing because there's a lot of optimizations and stuff that the developer Henrik has done, but it is it's a bunch of like sane defaults on top of Emacs. I know people that are watching this that are like Emacs purists are going to scream at me, but I love it. I
Yeah,
don't really see myself ever doing like a vanilla Emacs config just because I don't really have the time to do it.
yeah, yeah. Same thing in Neovim. If you install a Neovim distribution, there's a lot of people that's gonna scream at you and are gonna be upset because you're using a
Yeah,
distribution and you didn't start
yeah,
your Neovim from scratch. But the problem with that is
purists.
that, yeah, for sure. The problem is that I want to get to know the tool first. You know, I want to see what it's capable of doing. I want to see if I like it
Hmm.
or not. If I do,
Hmm.
I'm still trying out Neovim. I have been using it for like a year. If I like it, maybe I can invest hours and hours and hours into my own config. Honestly, I don't want
Yep.
to do it because it's not going to look better than the Lazivim distro anyway. And it's not going to be better.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave that to an expert, right?
That's kind of how I feel about Emacs as well. Doom is just so well optimized and such. And I mean, I've run optimizations within my own configuration. We can even go through them and stuff, but like, there's nothing that even compares, for me at least. And I know people are gonna be like, "Well, you got to roll your own configuration eventually." Maybe one day. But right now, I get by pretty well with the way that it's configured for me.
And where do you think the inspiration came from? Did Neovim came up with the inspiration for this called distributions from Doom Emacs, or Doom Emacs came from Neovim inspiration? I don't know which one started, you know, this like packaging, because it's some sort of like packaging system, right? In which you get a lot of same defaults, right? So,
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure who started there's been Emacs distributions in the past.
mhm.
Like Doom is not the newest distribution in quotation marks by any means, but there you go. That was actually pretty quick for an install.
2 minutes 58
Uh,
seconds.
yeah, so now you'll run, if you go back to the GitHub repo,
Okay.
you will just scroll down a little bit. The that command there with the .config /emacs/bin/doom, copy that, just that part of the
Uh-huh.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Just copy that, go to
Uh-huh.
your terminal, paste it in.
Just like that, just paste it in.
Yeah, just paste that in, and then
Uh-huh.
I'll add a couple things to it. Then add a no, sorry, and then slash right at the end of bin.
Okay. Oh,
Back,
okay, okay,
no,
okay.
two backspace. Yeah, you got it. /doom, and then space, then the word sync, sync,
Just like this.
and then hit it. Yep.
Okay. What is
And
that?
that should that just builds Doom. So that should then if you run Emacs again, it should look differently. Let's see if this works.
Oh, it's just Emacs, right?
Yep.
Just Emacs, and where is it?
Oh no, it doesn't look different. Okay, what do we have to do here? Let me think. So yeah, if you run that command, that will open up Doom Emacs. We can alias that to just the command Emacs in the future if you wanted to. So like if you just type in Emacs, it will just run that command instead.
Okay, okay, makes sense. I'm gonna run it.
You're familiar with aliases, I assume.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So
Okay. So that will pop it up, and then it seems to be running.
there
There
it
we
is.
go. Nice.
Okay.
So that's Doom Emacs. So it looks a little bit prettier than vanilla Emacs, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, looks like a Neovim
And
distribution.
you got it. So these commands that it has right at the default dashboard will kind of get you started. So if you wanted to go to your configuration, you could just type space FP. That will bring you to your Emacs configuration, etc. But if you just type space period,
Space period. Okay, space period. Okay.
there's your file system.
Okay.
From that point that you entered, so you're actually in your config directory right now.
Okay.
And you can zoom around your file system just with that.
Okay.
So if you wanted to go edit a file or something, Maybe even
Okay.
edit your Neovim configuration. You could do it from there.
Okay. Okay. So you just have to change the path here then, I guess, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So if I come here to GitHub.
And it has tab completion as well. So
Yeah,
you just
that's what I noticed. That files latest.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in my dot files there, for example.
There you go. Yeah.
I just
Yeah. And
opened
then
that directory there. Just hit enter.
Yeah, just if you hit enter, that will actually take you to the place. There you go.
Okay.
So now you're in it. You'll have Vim controls, so hjkl is
that's
normal.
good. Okay.
And then if you hit L, for example, to go into a directory.
Okay, L is right and H is left. It's back, I guess, right? Okay, so if I come here to this, okay, makes sense.
Yep, there you go. You want to edit lazy Vim or whatever, you can go through and then it'll take you into whichever file you want to edit.
Let me open a file and let's see how it looks. One of the plugin files, and let's open this one.
Yeah, okay. That's fully, so that's like fully vanilla. That's a Lua file. Type Alt X.
Alt X.
Or Command X on a Mac, I suppose.
Command X, let's see. Okay.
Command X. That's literally every command you can run in Emacs. So you see all of the different commands. Just type Lua. I want to see if there's a Lua mode. Lua TS mode. Hit enter. Let's see if that does anything. Nice. There you go. So you have your LSP for Lua right there.
Okay.
Now it's giving you an error because tree sitter, it's saying the Lua grammar is unavailable. I mean, that's weird because it actually is giving you a little bit of syntax highlighting.
Yeah, a little bit seems. Oh, and Control D works.
It's not, yeah. Oh yeah. Like all of your Vim movement commands, it's all the same. You hit I, that's your input. Yeah. So you could type exactly.
Oh, okay.
And then escape is to get out of it. Yeah.
Okay. How do I?
Now you said that. Yeah, you wanted to do KJ, right?
Yeah, KJ. Yeah, because that's what I'm used to.
Let's add it.
Let's see.
Because this is what I used to do too.
Oh yeah, what do you do escape to exit out of
Because I use so I use a pretty similar keyboard to you. I use a Chalkify. You have a Glove 80 there. So literally my right thumb, underneath my right thumb is escape.
Okay. Oh, I see.
So that's even easier for me than doing KJ. But here, if you wanted to add KJ to your configuration, this is I'll send it to you in Discord here. This is the thing that you'll add to your config, and we'll add it to your config together.
Okay.
So that's some Lua, or sorry, not Lua, Lisp. That's some Lisp.
Okay, that's Lisp. Okay, so after evil, that stuff, right?
Yeah, so let's go to type space FP.
Okay, here I'm just in this file, space FP, okay?
Yeah, that actually goes directly to your Doom config. So like it's kind of a shortcut that you can enter anywhere in your file system. It'll bring you to your Doom config.
Okay, how do I close the little window that is up there, the arrow? How do I navigate between these panes?
So that'll also be something that you could configure. I personally like control arrow.
Yeah. Well, I do control K, J, H, and L.
Yes. So you could do that as well. We could add that as well to your configuration. It's something that I have in mind. Right now, you could literally just click on the window that you want to close. So you want to close the error window, I assume, right?
Yep.
Yeah, click on that and type space WD.
Space WD. Oh, that's the way that I do it in Neovim as well, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know where the inspiration came from, but that's the way it's done.
I think there's some overlap for sure. So that's a way that you can do it. You can obviously configure that however you want it as well. So let's go to your config.el.
Oh, hold on here. And is there a way? Because when I open, when I'm looking for files, I don't use the arrows usually. Because when I open this, file picker or whatever it is, I started in normal mode in Neovim, so I can just use. It doesn't matter, right? But
no. If you want to do hjkl, just hit Control and then hjkl.
Control. Okay, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
but you don't have like something like modes, for example. Let me just quickly jump here, and if I open this, right? This is the
Yep.
file picker.
Yep.
Or if I open my buffers, the buffers that I have opened, notice that I'm in normal mode directly. So I just type J, and I can go down or up.
Right.
Or if I'm in this file picker, I just jump into normal mode real quick, and I can go up and down with J
Gotcha.
and K. It doesn't matter.
I'm sure there's a way to configure it. I personally, because I use like a 36 keyboard, I literally just use like the arrows underneath my hjkl fingers.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's a way to configure it. I'm not totally familiar with it, but we could absolutely figure that one out. So if you go to your config.el,
Okay.
But for right now, it's control hjkl.
Okay.
This is your big config file. Like literally, this is what you would edit to change the behavior of Emacs.
Okay.
So if you hit, let's go capital G, just go to the bottom.
Okay.
And then if you paste that thing that I sent in Discord into you.
Let me see if I don't have any sensitive information here. And I don't, so I don't need to edit this. All right,
No,
I
you're
just
good.
pasted it.
Yep. And then escape. And then now to load that, here's the thing about Emacs is that you can actually load this as soon as you put it into your configuration. So for Doom, that's space HRR, space HRR.
Hold on. So all of that, space what?
Space H.
Space H.
Yeah. And then you'll see that this is your self-documenting, what do they call this again?
Oh, yeah, that's
which key. This is which key.
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
which key will pop up. Now hit R.
And what is this one called? Is it also called which key, or is it something?
I believe it is which key, I want to say. I think it is still which key.
Nice.
Yeah. And then R for reload.
R, okay.
And then you'll see R again is doom/reload. That will just reload your configuration.
So I type R again?
Yes. That reloads your configuration. Now, if you go into editing mode and hit KJ, it should actually escape for you.
No, it didn't.
Oh, it didn't? Okay.
It did, but I guess the delay
might be too slow.
Yeah.
Okay, then you change you're too slow or the delay is too slow?
Let me see. If I type it slower, it doesn't work. Let me try it faster. Well, it has to be almost at the same time. Let me see. I guess this is too fast for me, maybe. That escape delay. Could that be it?
Okay. Yeah, maybe we take it down to like 0.5.
Let's see. Okay, so it was then space.
Yeah, and then HRR.
HRR.
You got it.
Okay, got it. Okay, so notice that after reloading that, if I type KJ, it doesn't work, right? But let me show you something. If I type JK, it works. And I don't know why.
That is weird. Okay. Weird.
But I can invert these, I guess, right? So I can put it here as JK. Let me reload and see what happens. So it's space HRR. Oh, that's strange.
That is so strange. I know that it works because I've definitely done it myself. So it for some reason that is weird.
Yeah, it works if I do JK.
JK. That's so weird.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I can figure that out in a different time. That's fine. But at least they know that it's possible. You have done it, so that works for me. What else?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
What else should I do? What else do you recommend doing here?
You want to go to my config?
Yep.
I'll show you
your config.
Just go to my screen and I'll kind of show you what I've got here.
All right. Let me switch there.
Okay. I mean, you can change your fonts. So like if you want to do you probably use, what do you use? Is that
JetBrains Mono?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can add that here to your fonts. Very simple. theming. So like if you don't like the default theme, you can actually switch the theme in Doom Emacs with, I think it's space HT, I want to say. Yeah, space HT. And you can literally go through all these built-in different themes. Oh my goodness, white. You see all that? I like Nord. Nord is kind of my like go-to, but
Yeah.
for other people you can change. They have like a gazillion different built-in themes. So that's kind of nice.
And these little
You
configs that you're showing there, where do you add them? Do you add them in the same file that I was working on right now?
config.el, you got
Oh,
it.
so you just copy these like code blocks and just paste them there.
You would copy essentially this.
This whole
So
thing, okay.
don't copy the begin eLisp thing, but
Okay.
copy the Lisp inside of it, and that
Okay.
would be how you would. Yeah, this is on my blog too. If you want to link to my blog, I can.
Yeah,
I
I
can.
will. What's the, if you can open it since you're sharing your screen right now, I think it would be easier if you can open your blog there. And I'm going
Oh, sure.
to leave it in the video description as well, if you can send it to
Yep.
me as well.
Yep. My blog is just joshplays.com, and then one of my more recent posts was my literate Doom config. So I'll just send you this link here.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So that's what we're looking at in Emacs on your screen right now, correct?
You got it.
Article.
Yeah. We're looking at essentially the configuration that I copy pasted to the blog article.
Okay, great.
Yep. So like, I don't want to go through the whole configuration because it is probably like,
yeah, it's too much. Yeah.
1,700 lines, but stuff that I would think that are kind of important is, I mean, if you like transparency, you can add that very easily. You can change how lines
like in the Emacs application itself, so I can see through it.
You got it.
Okay.
Because I think in your terminal you even have, you definitely have some transparency, so you could add that very easily. You can change how lines wrap. This is a nice one here, is that you can actually change how files delete. So if you delete a file, they actually go to the trash instead of completely gone forever.
Okay.
Which is nice. This is some optimization stuff. Like, obviously this is like a couple of years of me using Emacs. So like, you just find this stuff on the internet and add it to your configuration. You can change your splash screen, how Zen appears. So like this right room mode that I'm currently in, so that you can see my screen better, is called Zen mode. So you can just go into that.
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with that for Neovim, if you write a lot in it.
You know, I don't use Zen mode. I just what I do is that I fold my headings, and that's what I'm gonna ask you. I'm just gonna add it here so that I don't forget. Fold headings. Okay, go on.
And then the which key speed up, because I like it pretty quick. Like, I just want to see what stuff is coming up. You can change that very easily. Completion's a big thing, because you obviously want to be able to have automated completions, and how your file, like for example, I use Vertigo, which is this at the bottom of my screen. This is how I go through my file finder and everything. And it also like, it just kind of limits things down when I type them. This is all essentially that file editor setup that I have, like all in this code block here.
Okay.
Company is like
the completion.
Yes.
You mentioned that. Good that you mentioned that. I noticed that you had some words. Do you have like a dictionary? Like, I guess you can add a dictionary. Since you wrote a book with that, I guess you do add a dictionary.
Yeah. So I believe it's A-spell is the package, or is it spelling? Let me see here.
And have you heard about Harper?
I-spell.
Have you heard about
Harper?
Yeah, it's a language server. It's like a Grammarly alternative for Neovim. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have not.
No, well, it's not for Neovim only. The good thing is that it's for Emacs as well. And Obsidian, a lot of different tools, right? VS Code even. I'll show you around in a little while once you're done
for sure. Like
screen.
In my store, for example, I have a dictionary, and it's fully. I essentially, whenever I'm starting a new system, I bring this dictionary over, so it just has all of my default dictionary stuff, all of the words that I've added.
Okay.
so that they don't come down as misspelled or whatever.
Okay.
Org mode setup, org agenda, the way that you can, so like calendar and stuff. Yeah. So there's like just a gazillion things you could do with this. I'm trying to think, like, is there any like thing that comes up that you would want immediately in
Yep.
your
Yeah.
editor?
Yep. Let me show you what I spend most of my time on. Let me switch to my screen. Okay. For example, this is my blog post. And I love folding headings, right? I can unfold everything because I cannot do this in Obsidian. So I thought I like navigating my documents using this thing here a lot, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
let's say
Yep.
that it's a big file. Let's say that this glove 80 file, right? So, this is nice. You get this in Obsidian. I can navigate through different headings like this, but I
Yep.
just find it more effective. I got used to it already, doing it through folds, right? So I can unfold all the headings, all the text is there, right? Nowadays, you can even view images in Neovim. So it's becoming like Emacs, sort of.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So this is one of the
That was
big
probably
ones for
because
it.
of the terminal you're using.
Yeah, because of the terminal I'm using. Ghosty supports it, Kitty, and Western as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But that's some of the main ones. I just like folding everything and navigating my files this way. I just, if I want to go into a heading, I just hit enter, or if I hit
Yep.
enter again to fold it, fold or unfold, right? So I guess I don't expect you to have the answer for this right now, but is it doable? Can you do that in Emacs?
I would assume yes, because like if you go over to my screen, for example, in org mode, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
there's a way to fold headings in Markdown as well. But if you look at my screen, I'm literally just hitting tab
Hold
and
on.
it's just folding.
Let me go there.
Yeah.
Okay. There.
Just like that, right? Like that's just closing a heading right there and there.
Okay. With tab, you just fold a heading.
Yeah.
Okay. But I have a key map, right? So if I type ZK, it's going to fold all my level 2 headings, right? So if
Yes.
I type ZL, it's going to fold all the level 3 headings, right? So I'm going to be able to
Yep.
see level 2 and level 3 headings. I
Yep.
guess that's something that could be configured in Emacs, right?
Absolutely. Oh, totally.
Okay. Well,
I
that's nice.
personally don't. Yeah, I don't use that as much because usually when I'm programming, that's when I would fold. They allow that in any sort of LSP, right? So like you have a function and you want to just fold up the function because you're working on a 1,000 line programming file, right. So you would essentially fold up that function. You can fold inside the function, etc.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's all included for sure.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I spend most of my day in Markdown bash scripts, but I don't need too much out of them. Markdown
Yeah.
is what I have specialized my config in, view images, folds, and the way that I format them. Let me show you Harper real quick so that so that you
Sure.
understand. And maybe, if
Yeah.
you could, I don't know, maybe a video idea or something of you testing out Harper, seeing if you find it useful or not. Let me show it to you real
Sure.
quick. So you tell me how you do that in Emacs at the moment, or if you maybe don't do it, right? So I have this file open and let me show you Harper real quick. Let me show you what it does so you can just tell me how you do this. Right, so I just typed all this text, right? And
Yep.
notice that I get a lot of
Oh, that's kind of cool.
warnings there. Let me keep typing something else. Some more text here and more text and more text.
Until it's a run-on sentence or something.
Yeah. So
Okay.
notice that it's telling me this sentence is 46 words long. It doesn't
Right.
like that, right? So let me just fix them real quick. I just fixed that capital letter that it was
Yep.
talking about. If I jump
Yep.
to the next diagnostic, it tells me try avoid offensive language. You can configure all these rules, of course, right? So
That's
just gonna,
cool, man. I have no idea about this.
yeah, I just deleted that. And did you mean to spell Harper this way? It expects it to be with capital letter, right? So I just
Gotcha.
fixed that. And what else? 45 words long. Just gonna put a period there, just a dot. It's gonna complain about this lowercase letter. And there we go. So it helps me write better, right? And it's not a Neovim thing. It's not a Emacs. It's just a language server that you can install in multiple editors, right? Even in VS Code, even in WordPress, or even in your code, it seems, right? So
That's very cool.
do you have something like this? I haven't done this in Neovim before till I met Harper. I wanted to do it. I wanted to find like a Grammarly alternative, but I didn't know about that one till this one. And the good thing is that it's for multiple tools. So what do you do in that case? Or
I've never wrote like that, to be honest with you. I just have like essentially a dictionary for I have a dictionary that will do my spell checking for me. I also have like a built-in, let me go here. I have something built in that'll do like thesauruses. So like if I wanted to change a word at the point that I'm in, I can do space WT. That's just something that I've written, and it will go through different words that I could use in exchange for that word.
oh,
But
okay.
no, like that's pretty cool. I've never wrote to that like with that much assistance. That's pretty cool, because it would actually, that would be super helpful in a lot of cases when you're writing and you're like, this actually, I could format this so much better. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal this from you, because I'm looking at the Harper dictionary, or not the dictionary, but the documentation right here,
Yeah.
and it's showing me that all I have to do is have this package installed, and then it's an eglot plugin. Looks like it's using the language server protocol through eglot, and no,
I'd like to
that's
see how
pretty
it works in
easy.
Emacs, so if if you're gonna release a video or something on that, I will for sure check
Sure.
it out.
Okay, I'll make a note of this. Go to my screen for a second. I'm going to show you something cool.
Yep, I'm on your screen right now. We're looking at your screen.
Okay, so I'm going to copy this URL, and I have a hotkey in my system that's actually just going to make a to do for that.
Okay.
So I just pressed Control Shift C for capture. That's
Okay.
going to bring me to a to do. And then I'm going to say make video about Harper.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to paste that URL in there. And I'm just going to say this is a video idea. So it's a video tag. Okay. And I'm going to press Control C, Control C. That's going to be captured into my to dos for
Okay.
my project management. So if I want to see what I need to do on any daily basis, I just go into that file, find that capture, and start working on it right then and there.
Oh, so it created a file. It's an org mode file that you created?
It didn't create the file because the file already exists. All it did was append that to do to the beginning of that list in the file.
Okay. And that's how you manage tasks. How do you manage tasks in like
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how I manage tasks. So like every single time I have something that comes up that I need to do, I just capture it in a buffer, and then I go into that file at any given day. I have it in my inbox right here, and this is my to dos.
okay, okay. So
So there you go.
so they end up in your inbox.
Yep. And then if I have like a event, right? So I have this podcast right now that we're working on right now. That is, well, it's actually in progress. There you go. So like these are actually all in my calendar because they're events that have to be like there's a specific time sensitivity to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes into my calendar. And then my projects, which is like everything that I'm working on, is in a projects.org file. I won't open that because there's just a bunch of personal stuff in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so that's how I manage most of my to-dos. And it's very easy because anywhere on my system, I could be like, I need to capture this because this is pertinent, this URL. All I do is just Control C that and then put it into a capture.
Okay, and that all automatically you can grab all of those on your inbox, right?
Yes.
In your inbox, what is it? Is it just an org mode file?
You got it.
Nice. Let me show you how I do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not organized. You know, that's the
Neither am I. I want to say I am, but I'm not.
let me show you what I do. Let me show you what I
Go for
do.
it.
I guess you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
So I have a key map here. If I type hyper-tr, I use key maps a lot, man. So to
Same.
navigate Emacs sessions, you know, if I need to go to my daily note, I like this because it doesn't matter if I'm on the browser, right? I'm on your, well, no, where's your blog?
That was my blog. Yeah.
Oh, this is your blog. Okay. So if I'm there and if I type hyper-tr, doesn't matter that I'm there. It's going to take me to the terminal and it's going to take me to this note. It will create a Emacs session, right? So if I look at the sessions here, it doesn't matter what day it is, it's gonna create a Emacs session and it's gonna create this file with the name of the day and the dates, of course. I can just write stuff here, right? If I type Alt-L, it's gonna create a task, right? With Josh, for example, right? And that's how I usually do it here on this little app that I have on the right, which is Neovim as well, right? So I have my to-do thingy here, which I never do, right? I just have them there and I never follow through, you know. I'm not,
of course, yeah.
I just
know how it is.
but I just keep them there. At least I keep them there and I just remember about them. And if I need to, because they're going to be scattered around different daily nodes, right? So it's difficult to find them, right? So I usually keep them here on this little app on the right on Skitty Notes. But if I leave some of them scattered here around and I need to see them, for example, I used which key in the past a lot, right? Which is similar to what you have in Emacs. But now I just bring up a picker here and I just search for task, for example, right? So search for incomplete tasks, right? So if I execute this, it's just going to show me the incomplete tasks. This is the only one that I have in this file, but I could add more, right? Let's say yesterday, I don't have anything yesterday. Good. I can create a new task, another task. And if I type leader TC, no, leader TT is going to show me. And notice that they're in different files, right? These are not completed. So that's kind of what I do with tasks. I don't do it too much, but I just came up with this solution, you know. But I do see the benefit in Emacs, right? Because you keep everything in a single place. Well, why did you go back?
Well, you can do that in a single file in Emacs, but you could also do it through like 100 different files. And all you have to do is add each of those files to your org agenda, they call it. And then in your org agenda, you can actually just pop up all of your to-dos, right? And that will actually show you like everything that you need to do for the future or for the past, or tasks that you've missed and you need to follow up on because they're red, for example. These I have to do because they're past due, right?
Okay.
But those don't live in the same file. They live in a contacts, they live in a projects, they live in a calendar. And I also do like the daily journal thing too. And I can just add that journal to my org agenda and it will take in all of the tasks into that centralized place and say, oh, you need to do this. Oh, this is missing. I like your system though. I think that's a pretty cool system.
But you don't have to add the file specifically to this, what is it, org agenda you said, right? You can add a path, right? It doesn't have to be specific files. It can be a path.
As long as it's an org file, you can add it anywhere on your file system.
Okay, but so that they end up in the main inbox,
Yes.
you
Not
you
in the
mentioned.
inbox, not in the inbox, but it's something called org agenda. So it ends
Okay.
up in your agenda, which is a amalgamated. It's not a file. It's actually it's pulling in all of the different um, files, and then you can actually go to the to do or the task or the event or whatever, and you can actually hit enter on it, and it will take you to the file that's corresponding for it. So similar to
Oh,
what you have for a system.
okay, okay, I see. And but you can
Yeah.
add paths to this org agenda. It doesn't have to be just files, right? So I can add a path in which I have 100 files, right?
You could do that, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because that's how my daily notes folder works. I have them separated by year, right? So I have year 2024, 5, and then by month, and then inside there I have the each one of the files for the daily
Right.
notes.
Yep. You can do it with the file path as well, because let's say your basic org directory has all of the files that you need in it. You can just add that that file path, and all of those files will be contained in it. Really, the beauty of it is that your work and your workflow, it can be completely tailored to what you need, right? So something that makes sense for you but not for me, or for and vice versa, you can integrate that into either of these systems and have it so that it's perfectly what you need, which is that's the beauty of using Vim or Emacs or whatever, is that it's very flexible, right?
Yeah, I agree. And if you notice, just like you were saying right now, inspiration is all you need, and ideas. Because notice how similar which key is in Emacs and in Neovim, right? So
Mm-hmm.
definitely someone grabbed the inspiration from one of the two tools and ported it to the other, right? So
Yep.
that's,
There's actually an org mode port in Neovim too. So like you
oh,
can actually use org mode in Neovim because people love it, right? So they're like, I want org mode, but I don't use Emacs daily. So they ported it over. Now I don't know how good or not good it is comparatively, but it is like a full on port.
okay. We're looking at your screen right now, by the way.
Yeah, no. I'm just looking it up for you.
Okay.
NVIP org mode is the port.
Okay, interesting. I've thought about org mode in Neovim, but I'm like, uh, you know, I have spent months setting this up, so it would require me a lot of time to
Oh, I know.
to migrate to org mode. So I'm like, could be. I see the benefits of Emacs, I'll keep it in mind.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know what I'll do, but it's good, to look at how it works, what it's capable of. Management of tasks is a big one in Emacs, it seems, right? Like you can manage
Yeah.
your life in Emacs. That's what it's designed to do, it seems, right?
That's one of the killer apps for sure. Org mode is like one of the big reasons people start using Emacs and then see how Emacs is different, and they start using it for a lot of different stuff too, right? Like you can manage your media, you can manage your like this is my, like my file picker, same thing with that you have. You can just go through and like see files and everything. Like you can manage your files through Emacs. You can manage your music. You can play music through Emacs. You can do all of these different things. Do you do RSS stuff?
No. Well, my blog does have an RSS, but I don't. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but like if you used RSS for reading all of your feeds, you can read all of your feeds in Emacs.
Oh,
You
in
can do
Emacs. Okay. Okay.
you can do IRC through Emacs. So if you want to do if you want to like chat via internet relay chat, you can do it in Emacs. Uh, all of that different stuff.
Interesting. Great. Wonderful. Okay, so I think I did have I asked all the questions that I had about Emacs. Is we cannot cover all of this in a single video, but is there
No,
anything
not even
else that you would
close.
like to share with someone that is, a Neovim user and is thinking of trying Emacs, are there any other?
I would say just give it a shot and play around with it and see how you can replicate your workflow in Emacs, and try Doom Emacs if you're coming directly from Vim, because you'll have a lot of the controls and everything will be pretty similar. And then you can kind of go from there and try to replicate your workflow and see, where does it differ? Is this better? Is this not? And I mean, a lot of people use both of these apps a lot. Like, a lot of people program in Neovim and then they use all their task management in Emacs, like I was saying.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to use one or the other. You can use both at the same time and just see which one fills the need better for certain tasks. I am kind of a purist in that I try to do everything in Emacs, but you don't have to be like that. Absolutely.
You know, I do like that idea because I don't think I'm moving away from my Markdown workflow. But, you know, if I want to manage my life, I would see myself probably doing it in Emacs because it's designed for that, right? So it doesn't seem, I can get started with that at least, see if I like it or not. I don't like the theme, to be honest, but I guess you can create your own theme, right? You can just, yeah, your colors. Because I have my own colors.
you can change you can change all of that out.
Oh, okay, interesting. People don't like my colors because they're too bright, they're too shiny, and all that stuff.
Sure.
But I just
people don't like mine because they're too dull.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always that, 50-50. 50 of the people are going to agree to something and the other half are not. So you cannot just please everyone. There's always someone that's going to complain about something, always. But,
oh yeah,
that's the way it is. So if everyone's still watching this, just remember to go and check out Josh's channel, subscribe, like the video, and that's it. I'll see you in the next video.
Man. Thanks for having me on, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'll see you.